Perfectionism, courage cartographer, jujitsu. What do all of these things have in common, you might be wondering? Well, I am so grateful to have the amazing Lucy Houghton with us. She is a courage cartographer, and she's going to be sharing some wisdom with the community. Well, I am so grateful. Oh, that's me. So thank you, Women of Wisdom, for being here. And thank you, Lucy, for being here with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I just love you. Every time I see you, I always feel inspired and I always feel courageous to take the next step. So thank you for being such a pivotal part of my life and for really sharing your energy with this community.
Thank you. I receive that and feel the same. I don't know if ditto is a thing anymore, but ditto.
Ditto is such a thing. If not, then I'm definitely out of date. But I'm
bringing it back.
Woohoo! All right, ladies, if you're watching this, go ahead and drop ditto in the comments and just let us know that you're with us. So Lucy, one of the first things I have to ask is I had never heard of a courage cartographer before you. So can you tell me a little bit more about what exactly does that mean? What does that entail? How do you tell me all the good stuff?
Yeah, so it's really making a map of courage. And so I'm a courage researcher and specifically for women. And when I went on the journey to really look at courage in research, I wanted to know what is the way that women summon their courage, especially in leadership, so that we can do all of the things that we want to do. So we can live our fullest life, achieve our dreams, start the business, write the book, whatever it is. And what I found was there wasn't anything. In fact, there wasn't even research on women in courage. Not very much, like tiny bit, 1 or 2 studies. And there wasn't a map for how to summon courage at all. Courage is a really big, gauzy thing that what I found in my research is everybody wants to be seen as courageous and nobody wants to actually have to be courageous because it's scary. So I set out on a to map our process that we use to summon courage, and is the first of its kind. So that's how I became a courage cartographer.
I think that's how you became the courage cartographer. Let's go ahead and put that definitive article in front of it. Like, this is the courage cartographer here. I had goosebumps so many times when you were talking, because I think it's so important to have that map. When it comes to courage, even when I work with my clients with self-worth, love yourself, the world tells us that we got to be courageous. We got to love yourself, have self-esteem, but no one tells us how to do it. Everyone just tells us that we're wrong.
Yeah.
Which can really make people feel broken or not enough. And so I'm so grateful that you not only did the research, but you made a map. And I love how you tie it into a journey, like summoning courage. I absolutely love that. I've just got goosebumps and chills. And so, Lucy, I wonder, this month in the group, we're really working on perfectionism. And I know even for myself, for me to overcome those moments of perfectionism, it takes a lot of courage. And I'm just wondering, from the expert's point of view, what, how has perfectionism showed up for you, or how does perfectionism relate to courage? Do you have any thoughts kind of on that?
Oh, so many thoughts on that. So I think I'll start with the first thing of how did perfectionism show up for me? I think it showed up for me in the way it might show up for many, which was I was completely unaware. I did not know that I was, assuming the identity of a perfectionist. And I remember reading this book, and my girlfriend had recommended it. She had read it, and it was all about our personalities and identities and all of these things. And what I had always thought was, of course, I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not perfect. I'm not striving to, for perfection all the time. And I realized that that's not actually what that is. And so when she talked about the things that we do of, really how we want to we don't want our failures to be seen. We don't want to take on the excruciating pain of feeling ashamed of not achieving something or failing at something or having that be seen or witnessed by others. And then it dawned on me. I was like, oh yeah, that's me. And so I say to my girlfriend, like, I think I'm a perfectionist. And she's like, oh, yes, love. Yes, you are. Let me help.
I I love that. And one thing that has been just this recurring theme with the women that I brought on is like, I'm not a perfectionist. And then that moment of like, actually, it's not that I'm
Oh, yeah.
indecisive. It's not that I'm an all or nothing woman. I have this hidden trait of actually being a perfectionist and really bringing it down to that fear of failure and not wanting to be seen. So thank you for speaking to all of us who are like, we didn't really know, and to those who are like, actually, I don't really identify as a perfectionist, but that fear of failure is something that really speaks to me. So thank you for opening that pathway up for us.
Yeah. So then when you think about how courage shows up there, ooh, I think the map for courage, I'm not sure that I would be successful in working through perfectionism if I didn't have that map. Because being a map maker certainly doesn't mean you don't need the map. I need the map. Uh, so I need it to help me every day to go, what, how do I be a succeeding person who wants to achieve but doesn't want to pack on that kind of stuff with, with perfectionism. I think it's kind of like carrying around a 50-pound backpack all the time, because we're always like, oh, I got to shove that in there and I don't want that to be seen, and please don't tell anybody that, I screwed that up, or I
Mhm.
missed. And so I don't want anybody to see that. And so how do I take that backpack off and unpack all that crap, because I don't want to carry that around. And the
Yeah.
map of courage has really huge support for me in doing that.
I mean, I bet. I feel like when it comes to taking action, which is something that perfectionists can really feel paralyzed in, it takes courage. It takes courage and being able to be like, I mean, if perfectionism, one of the big things is a fear of failure, one way to combat that is to take action with courage. So, I mean, heck yeah, heck yeah. Everybody needs a map. I will say that everybody needs a map. And so, Lucy, these are just meant to be short little interviews. So before we sign off, is there any tip that you would like to give the community or to the women who are listening around navigating perfectionism?
Yeah. So for me, the things I find most helpful are, my background is as a nurse. So I create a triage list, which is no different than saying, here are my priorities. These are the 3 things that when I go to bed tonight, I need movement here. And I make them small, not like giant bites, small bites. Like
Yeah,
I need to
perfectionist, small bites.
small bites. I need to send this email. I need to connect with this person. I need to confirm this date. Small. And if I do that, 3 of those every day, 4 or 5 days a week, then I have a handful of things I can look back. And that's really important, is to see those little steps of I move forward. And then the other thing I would say that's paramount for me is having other women who I can, create a safe space with, have a conversation and say, oh my gosh, I totally messed that up. I mean, today in my group, I sent the epic failure video to say, I totally screwed up, y'all.